Nathan Zegura with a free agency update edition of the 2-Minute Drill brought to you by University Hospitals. The Browns continue to add to their defensive side of the football, joining early signing safety John Johnson III and Takk McKinley with 3 more free agent additions. One at each level of the field. Along the defensive line, they brought in Malik Jackson. Now, Jackson was on the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos in 2015, a team that Joe Woods was the defensive backs coach for. Jackson scored a touchdown in that Super Bowl and has been one of the more productive interior pass rushers in the league, and he is looking to get back to the Super Bowl and chose to come to the Browns on a reported 1-year deal. At that second level, it was Anthony Walker Jr., a starter for the Colts the last few seasons, and if you saw the outpouring of affection from his teammates, you could clearly say he was a beloved member of that organization and a productive player on the field. Very smart, tough, accountable, exactly the kind of guy the Browns would want to add. A leader who was also productive, producing more than 100 tackles in 2 of the last 3 seasons and having at least 1 interception in 3 straight years as a starter on one of the better defenses in the NFL. The Browns rounded it out by bringing somebody else in on the back end, cornerback Troy Hill, a homecoming of sorts for the Youngstown native who stepped in as the starting slot corner for the Rams last year. Let's not forget, the Rams were the #1 defense and the #1 pass defense in the NFL, and Hill now joins his former teammate John Johnson in the Browns secondary. Hill was great last year, considered a gritty, feisty, tough competitor in the slot. 3 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns. He also returned a fumble for a touchdown, and his 3 defensive scores were the most of any player in the NFL. And now you think about a Browns secondary that's going to have at the safety position John Johnson, the returning Grant Delpit, Ronnie Harrison, and corners with Denzel Ward, Troy Hill in the slot, and the returning Greedy Williams. You feel pretty good about this back end that has been really remade with the returns from injury and the additions this offseason. The Browns were also busy retaining some talent as well, re-signing some of their own free agents this offseason. And we can start by rolling out the red carpet. That's right, Hollywood Higgins is back, coming off of a career year where Tom averaged over 16 yards per catch, over 12 yards per route run. He was incredibly efficient, second on the team in receiving yards and in touchdowns as well. Just a phenomenal season. He's the guy that has that ESP with Baker Mayfield, always open. He caught 38 of his 39 catchable passes last year. So reliable. It is great to have Hollywood back, and that means the Browns are basically running it back on offense, an offense that was excellent. Baker, Chubb, Hunt, Dearness Johnson in the backfield, Andy Janovich. You bring back your starting offensive line, all of your tight ends as well. David Njoku's option came fully guaranteed on the first day of the league year, so he is back. So you think about Hoop and the Chief and Harrison Bryant and Steve Carlson, and at receiver, OBJ comes back, Jarvis Landry, Hollywood is back, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Kaderil Hodge. We are running it back, but it was great to see Hollywood back in the brown and orange. The Browns also brought back kicker Cody Parkey, who really brought some stability to that position last year. He was excellent on his field goal attempts all season long and was a perfect 11 for 11 on his kicks in the playoffs when the Browns needed the most. He was at his best. He returns to the team as well. As does linebacker Malcolm Smith, a veteran, a former Super Bowl MVP, came to the Browns last year in training camp and played great. Second on the team in tackles and was graded as one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. So the Browns bring his veteran experience along with bringing in Anthony Walker back to that linebacker room, along with the 3 youngsters they've got in Jacob Phillips, Sione Takitaki, and Mack Wilson. Also in the linebacker room, Elijah Lee is back for the Browns as well. Lee really made an impact on special teams after joining the team last season, one of the top special teams players for Mike Prefer. Also coming back to the Browns, tackle Greg Senat, who started the season on the Browns practice squad before he was signed away to Dallas, where he ended up becoming active in 10 games, predominantly on special teams. And finally, JoJo Natson is back, another guy who was set to be the returner and add some speed to that wide receiver room. Missed the season with a torn ACL, but he will get another opportunity to make the Browns roster here in 2021. A very, very busy first week of free agency for the Browns, but Andrew Berry and company, they were calm, they were cool, they were calculated. They went after their targets. They remade all 3 levels of the defense, whether that meant bringing guys in like Takk McKinley and Malik Jackson on the defensive line, not to mention you get Andrew Billings back after opting out due to COVID last season. At the linebacker position, you bring in Anthony Walker Jr., you retain Malcolm Smith and Elijah Lee, and in that secondary, bringing in those 2 guys from the Rams. Again, I'll say it, top top-ranked pass defense, slot corner Troy Hill, and safety John Johnson III. A very busy week here in Berea, but a very productive one. Hollywood is back, new faces are here, and we all can't wait for the 2021 season. And the best part is, this roster looks really good. You could go out there with what the Browns have right now, certainly on both sides of the ball, and we haven't even had the draft yet. And of course, we're going to have full draft coverage for you here at clevelandbrowns.com and the Browns mobile app. A full week of Browns Lives for you to sink your teeth into and get ready when it comes to the 2021 NFL Draft, which will be right here in Cleveland. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the 2-Minute Drill, brought to you by University Hospitals.